Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at a small card game called Freaky. In this game, the players are going to be playing cards to the table in several columns in order to grow those columns and hopefully take those columns when they reach the threshold that allows them to be taken. Very light, very simple card game. Let me show you how it works. We start the game by flipping over 3 cards onto the table and giving each player a hand of 3 cards, and you're ready to begin. The idea here is to gather as many cards as possible from the center, and once we run the deck out, then whoever has the most cards collected is going to be the winner. And on your turn, you can play 1, 2, or 3 cards, all the ones you are holding, onto any of these piles, as long as when you play, they match one of the 3 things on the card, which is the number, the color behind the number, and then the color of the background itself. So for example, on my turn, I could play this card here because the background matches, or I could of course play it here or here because the number matches. So that's fine. And I can play more, again, if I can make multiple matches. So I could play this one here as well. Once you've played 1, 2, or 3, then you're going to check if you can take one of these columns. And you can take one if any one of those 3 features that matches shows up 4 or more times in that column. So, after I've played, let's say there are 4 or more 6s in this column, I can take that entire column, put it in my scoring pile, and then I replenish my hand. You always replenish your hand at the end of the turn, up to 3 cards, depending on how many you played, of course. And then it'll be the next player's go. There's one other thing you can do, and that is if you cannot play on any of the piles that are face up, then you play a card to begin a new pile. And that's the only time you can do that, is if you cannot play on the ones that are available. So that's it. That's the game. Very simple, very straightforward. I would do that. Draw a card. This player would go. They could do, not that. They could do, let's see. Orange, no. 4s, no. Green, no. Background purpley, no. Yellow background, no. Okay, so they have to play a new one. So they'll do that. Okay? And that's kind of what you have to go through each time that you're not quite sure if you can play or not. So this player will play there. And of course you are trying to get something really close and then snipe it, show up and snipe it if you can. So if I had one of the green backgrounds for this one, perfect, I could take that, but I don't. So I'll just do that instead. But this player can. They'll do that. And then they'll do that because it's green on green. And then they'll do that because it's purpley background on itself. And they can score this. And then draw 3 cards. That is the game. That's how you play. And those are the considerations you take into account when you are playing the game. Again, once you run this whole thing out, then you're going to have a stack of cards that you have been able to score. And whoever has the most of those is going to be the winner of the game. That's all there is to it. Let's go back up top. All right, so there it is. Let's talk about it. I'm going to use my target audience system for this. I'm going to put it down as well. Freaky. Thematic ties. There is no theme. It's just a card game. So, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with little card games with numbers and colors not having a theme. They don't all need a theme. The silly illustrations with the numbers with top hats and stuff, that's fine. That's enough theme. The aesthetics, I think, are, for the most part, pretty good. I like the quality of the cards. I think that's great. And I like the illustrations of the numbers themselves. Gives them a little bit of personality, and I enjoy that more than just a number on there. But I do have an issue with a design. This is both a problem here and a problem in a little bit when I talk about some of the weird design choices they made. And that is that I don't like that 2 of the 3 things are colors. I know the background has a little shape in there to help with the color, like squigglies or whatever. But I wish that it would have been, I don't know why this was not apparent, where it should have been a number, a color, and a shape. I would have loved to have seen, instead of a color and another color behind that, and you can match either one, because the number is easy. But there could have easily been a shape between the numbers in the index of the index corners of the card that was a star, a moon, a whatever. And that's way easier to distinguish sitting on the table than checking 2 sets of matching colors. which if there are a few columns going, does slow you down a little bit, even though you're holding just 3 cards. So you have to check for all those things, you know? So that I don't think was a good idea. Replayability, scalability, it's not great. It's okay. It's sort of, it's better than Uno. Game length and downtime. Again, the only downtime is if there are a lot of columns going, which is rare. It is rare. But, and the game length, it says on the box 15 minutes. I don't think I've ever been able to play quite that fast, but it's still pretty fast. So I don't have a problem with that. This is fine. Ease of play, fiddliness, iconography. There it is. The weird design choices. As I said already, I wish it was a symbol, the third thing, instead of yet another color or the background color. Even though there is a little pattern in there, it's hard to discern. And you just look at 2 colors. And then lastly, tactics and strategy and luck and randomness and all of that good stuff. It's certainly a very random game. You have a very small hand of cards. It's random. It's random. I mean, there is not a lot to it. I am a fan normally of little card games like this. I think they usually are very charming, and it's surprising sometimes what designers can do in this space. With this much that feels engaging, interesting, and while they're not revolutionary games, I often feel like this kind of game, not this game, like this kind of game should replace these old, dusty staples sitting in every big box store, and you can buy it at a bookstore or pharmacy or something. Because, what you do find there now is just Uno and spin-offs like that and Phase 10, that kind of game. And I think there's a lot more out there that is engaging. This is not one of those games I would say, yeah, this should replace Uno in stores everywhere. This is just more Uno, ultimately. It's very, very swingy, and what you are doing on your turn is just not that engaging. At no point did I feel a moment where I thought, I'm at a crossroads. I have a choice to make here. No, you play as little as possible until you can play enough to take a column, and then you play as much as possible. That's it. That's the whole thing. So this is a big pass. This is a big pass for me, especially from AMIGO, who has a bunch of other better, interesting little card games. There is no shortage of little card games out there. This is just another one. I can't recommend it for kids because I think they're going to be bored, and I certainly can't recommend it for adults because there's nothing here to draw them in. So there you go. That is Freaky. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.